am Couch Cube, and we are looking at some AI retro sort of fitted 1920s Aliens HR Giga AI art from Shortyverse. I will link. This is my Aliens Dark Descent review, and I want to just cover a few points first, give the game some positioning, and explain how much of a soft spot I have for his work. That reminds me, Helldivers 2 is downloading. How am I getting on with sorting out that Dubai account PSN issue? I'm sure I'll get something worked out on the UK account, but back to the AI art thing, and I have a love-hate relationship with it. I don't like the metamorphosizing, constantly changing imagery. This doesn't seem to be too affected in that direction, and it's all sort of outside, and I love the grand scale of these structures, and almost the fact that they are turning into creatures on the fly. That also led me into thinking about Scorn. It's been a while since that came out, and that does have a PlayStation 5 release, which I'd love to look at. I had such good fun with this game. It is technically a puzzler, and this is not photo mode footage. It was incredible to be able to gather all this amazing imagery. So we now have 3 quite strong 9th and 10th generation Aliens games available on console. Alien Isolation, of course Aliens Fireteam Elite, and now we have Aliens Dark Descent. I will position Aliens Dark Descent amongst those 2 previous mentioned titles. As a bearer of the Aliens brand and a video game, Dark Descent holds up very well. Which reminds me, where's my Darkseid crew at?
These graphics are really incredible. And as you can see, this man is having his head opened and an alien jizzed into his brain. That's disgusting.
Is it a good tactics-based military shooting game? Well, we are about to find out. We're going to be looking at 2 sets of footage. Day 1 installation and then the most recent patch. I have noticed some frame drops on a lot of the cutscenes, but I've had no performance issues within the actual gameplay itself with either sides of those patch updates. It's just really the cutscenes that were the issue, and I think that just comes with the territory on the game. It's not huge budget, not massive team, and it's not, full price AAA. It's okay, it's bearable. It's really this granular day-to-day gameplay that I'm interested in, and it does incredibly well on that front. It also does a brilliant job on establishing the universe for you with some great classic sounds, images and noises associated with the franchise.
Please be mindful of docking bid protocol at all times.
Notice it has the alien's name as opposed to the singular alien name, which is what Isolation is all about. This is more multiple aliens, more to do with Fireteam Elite than I first initially imagined. Also, nothing to do with the Prometheus or Covenant canon in here. This is purebred aliens lore, Cameron aliens. One of my favourite genres for the whole IP. The establishing story and the production on it is not too bad either. Some really good thought has gone into making this an interesting alien story, and it also scored massively for me on not pushing working Joes at you straight away as a foe. We'll get into that in a second. I also want to mention this is a real-time tactics game, and I have big experience with turn-based tactics games, XCOM 2, Gears Tactics, and of course the Holy Mechanicus being some of my favourite. Touching on the working Joe thing or the synthetics angle, Isolation had to do that because it only had 1 alien to work with. But Fireteam Elite pushes way too many firing human beings at you for a game that should be all about the Xeno. And talking of the Xeno, let's get a good look at that model. Firmly in Cameron's vision, I feel. Less CGI, not man in suit, but if you know Alien 3 and the Dogbuster, things look quite elongated. It's nice to see a kind of return to tradition with the form of the creature itself.
Switch to side up! Those things are handy for close encounters.
Classic Michael Biehn line there, and a little bit disappointed that some of those stars, Lance Hendrickson, didn't make any appearances in this. Michael's doing the rounds on podcasts at the moment. I'll try and put some links into that as well. He's coming out with some right dinger stories about being on set with that turbulent Aliens filming, and of course not being in Alien 3, stepping in the way of them using his image, all the legalities around that's quite an interesting iceberg. Just googled, Lars Hendrickson is 83 years old, my god. As you've seen in the background here, some major stuff goes down at the start of this game, and to tell you the truth, it's quite complicated, and you're not too sure who's aligned with who's a good whaling employee, who's one of the backstabbing bad ones, is there a Burke in the crew. It's a damn good setup, and it gets you really excited for what I consider a very strong front end. XCOM players will be extremely familiar with a screen like this, very simple stuff, and look at the slots down at the bottom. These are skills, interchangeable, and everyone has a Darkest Dungeon style bad trait that is increased and played upon as a game mechanic when you chomp through your Marines, and there is quite a lot of chomping through these guys. The APC looks a little bit different. I'm not too sure if that's early game. I haven't seen an upgrade tree for it, but it's okay. It still looks quite badass. This is a great piece of scenery, and of course, you know, even the pilot's voice, 5x5, everything's great.
Sounds like our first task is to secure the landing control zone.
Let's talk about these real-time tactic controls, because straight away I was like, wow, this is a really confident system, and it's ringing a really massive bell. I didn't look at the developer's previous work, and of course it is Gothic Armada. Big fan of Gothic Armada 2. It's an excellent Warhammer spaceship game.
Track the enemy ship from within! Swiftly! Yes, Commander.
Your trigger allows you to slow the game down and access your skills. If you're not doing that, you're tapping around with square button and choosing a place for them to walk to. They're all in a group, they don't split up unless you order someone to go and do a task, be it open a door or loot a box or even blow up some scenery. They will immediately return to the group after the execution of that, but it's an interesting section of unexpected meta. You may have to support or cover while something's going on, but you're not worried about individual troops being scattered around the map. Everyone is in this block, and as mentioned, that system gives you quite a lot of confidence.
Ceasefire! Ceasefire!
I mentioned Darkest Dungeon earlier. This does have a stress level system that doesn't result in your entire game falling apart, but it does lower your accuracy or cause some minor issues. The Thing on the PlayStation 2 had a touch of this, I seem to remember. The problem is remedied by using the welding system to create a safe house and get that percentage put down that you'll see on each individual. If someone's shooting or getting involved in a lot more activity, then they will have a higher stress level. You can also allocate various medical buffs to individual soldiers, so there is more than one way to fix the going crazy problem. The first level is absolutely massive, and its Hadley Hope vibes are amazingly good with that windswept look and the odd neon light and the idea of the reactors around. It's so cool having your APC available to call in on the map screen as well. So it's got that the longer you're out there, the more you're exposed, the more bad things can happen to you, and there's a very loose rein on when you've got to go back and sort of cash in all your loot or get all your guys recovered. It's pretty open on that front, which I respect. I don't respect these character models, however, inside the UI and the sort of shadow work on them. Some of this game does not even look 9th gen, but that is okay, because where you need to focus, it's kind of flawless.
Nightmare finally stopped, buddy.
Next up, I want to explore its classic cat and mouse scanner technique. You can see the aliens as white dots, and there's normally multiple paths that they can reach you on, and they can come flying out of ducks at any given moment. You're really supposed to not agitate these things, and there's loads of meters and detection and hunting statuses for what's on map. It is quite a lot to take on board.
Oh yeah, smells good.
You'll notice that that camera is not bad at all, offering you quite a deep zoom. I am freaking all over because I can get a good look at the battlefield and soak up these amazing visuals. Holding down triangle when you're not in combat also puts your flashlight on, and that actually does look 10th gen. So there is xenomorph kidnapping confirmed, and you can see that at the bottom of the screen you have your sort of status, and it was like signal lost. They missed a little bit of a trick, not letting that bleed out a bit and giving you a slightly bigger opportunity to pull your team buddy out of the hive wall, but you can headshot an alien that's trying to drag one of your team away. It's pretty cool.
Bring him down! You like that, huh?
They've also managed cover quite well, giving you like 3 green dots, 4, depending on your team size, around an object that you can snuggle up to. Gears of War Tactics was brilliant with that, and that also reminds me of Dawn of War. The APC is actually quite integral to your day-to-day maneuvering on the map, and you can't just call it to anywhere on that map. There's allocated spots. So the scenarios are, you're sort of hauled up, you all may be wounded, and you've got to make it to the APC point, which is almost identically creating some of the iconic scenes from the Aliens film. They have really got that spot on, and that is one of the major things about this campaign. Is I'm smiling a lot with the references and how much they've got right.
You like that, huh? Marines, reload!
Watch out!
The music is bang on as well, right? The sound of the sentry guns, the sound of the pulse guns. There's also a smart gun that is down a tech tree, which is a huge incentive to keep playing. That then brings me over to how the ranking system works with your individual Marines, is they have access to more weaponry the more you keep using them and the more they stay alive. However, in early game they drop like freaking flies. I had a death here and I didn't even notice. That XCOM ownership is here, but you've really got to watch out, and investing in a singular member is quite difficult as well, because trying to sort of pluck them out in combat in the team, i.e. trying to keep them away from danger or trying to put them in it to rank them up, is pretty difficult. Control wise, this is blatantly a PC game, and it does work on the pad. It's okay, but it's a little bit obvious sometimes. This is me chasing the APC down because I'll send it to somewhere that I'm not, and so you need to stay with it because out here you can get attacked as well. And notice it's got a massive turret gun on top, not too dissimilar to the Aliens classic version of that vehicle.
Well done, Marines.
So if you use the directional buttons during combat, which is kind of force of habit with me in tactical games, it will just take you to a sentry gun that you put down 10 minutes ago, and I came back to half of my team after realising what was going on with those controls, and I think a mouse and keyboard would just be perfect with this. I may look out for it over on Steam, to be fair, because I'm really enjoying the game. Just whilst we're on these screens, the Marine customization is bog standard. That one cut me up a little bit, also along with that sort of low render of the soldier itself. I think one of the key things that comes with that ownership is being able to really customize your individual characters right down to the names. The Chaos Gate is actually really good with that. A lot of Warhammer turn-based realise that, you know, adding your chapter insignias and all that trinket stuff is definitely worth something, and this is very shallow on that front. The hub has a progress forward day system, a little bit like XCOM's.
It's quiet. Too quiet.
Every single second you are told that something depressingly bad is either happened to all of your troops, one of your troops, yourself, or something's been removed. The red writing just seems to be everywhere. When you hold down triangle to cycle through to the next day, it's like, oh my god, what is going to happen to me next? It's a very pessimistic game model when it comes to reward with going forward on the day system. But when you get the new weapons open, the flamethrowers, the mines, and you get some armor going as well that can also be upgraded, things start really moving at a perfect pace.
Looks like they found us!
Bring them down! Grenade!
And let's talk about one of the best aspects of this Descent game is that the front campaign, that first mission, is absolutely amazing. Not a single android, a goddamned queen, and stepping into the hive and all of the network. It's extremely high level stuff. The game does, however, swing into the humanoid cultist area, and that's a bit of spoiler territory, but the Queen fight isn't. It's been a while since the old girl's been on screen, and the rework
That's disgusting.
on this scene, and the fact that we do see a little bit of improvement on those cutscenes with that new patch. By the way, we switched out about 5 minutes ago, apologies, but this cutscene, amazing stuff. There is one thing I think that will rub some Tactics fans up the wrong way, is that there's just so many options and so much to consider. There's flares, there's different aspects of accuracy depending on how much light is on pitch. You've also got the stress level thing going on, and you've got the detection line coming from the aliens themselves. Then you've got the thing on the top right, which could be an immediate horde that's coming in, so you're under the cosh with the time. It's like, whoa, it feels like you're spinning 10, 15 plates, and loads of them just hit the ground as soon as the combat kicks off. That may just be me. This is a new thing, and to have it wrapped in the Aliens franchise is just expert. Bigger enemies will have real-time area effect sections around them. The Queen will send out a big line of attack, and some will have circular, expansive, damage-dealing, Xeno-like, devastating actions.
Marine, down! Move! Shit! You see the size of that thing? Tell me it didn't come from those cows, man.
Also does the Hive and Hive walls great justice. You heard me talking about the lighting, turning on the torch, seeing a facehugger egg in the corner. It's a very good representation of what we all saw in that Cameron classic, and Elite does it very well. I did a whole feature video about it, and of course you do get to an awesome section of Hive and facehugger activity in Isolation.
That's substance. Busy little creatures, huh?
And lastly, and thank you to the 3.3%, we're on the 18-minute mark, I think. I want to cover the story and just the direction it's going in and how intrigued I am. You might have seen the PR material with the red aliens. It sort of brings me back to that comic series where they have factions within the species themselves. This is going to a very cool place, and I'm very much up for that. My advice on that complication thing would be probably not to go through all of the texts and tutorials hammering the X button and tutting. That could have been my fault, and having to backtrack and read up on everything is completely self-inflicted, and knowing Gothic Armada doesn't help either, or a traditional turn-based tactics. You'll still be on a blank page at the start of this game. Where would I position it with the Great 2 mentioned at the start of the video? That's very tough, but it would have to be second place under Isolation. So I think it goes in reverse order: Fireteam Elite, Descent, and Alien Isolation. Please wish me luck with my Helldivers 2 review, which I will try and get out by Sunday, and let me know in the comments if you own this game, whether this review did it any justice at all, and of course, I will see you down there.
That's disgusting.
Come on, Sal! Tigers are playing tonight!
I'd buy that for $1.
Something for her to remember you by after you decided to get yourself killed and leave your family all alone, Alex Murphy.
Slime bags detected.
Thank you.